Hello,
you
everyone.
guys.
Hello.
Good to see you once again.
Hi.
Again.
Yes, it is.
If you could come in and click
like and share.
for
I'm about
us.
to do that.
If you can click like and share for us. If you guys do not mind giving us a moment as we get started. Yes, that's some people.
Got my phone.
Come on in.
Come on in. Hey.
Yeah, so we're
Hey,
going to
y'all.
share and invite a couple of people who always say, hey, let us know.
Let us
We
know.
have to do better with that.
How was
Yes,
y'all
we do.
holiday?
I hope it was awesome.
I know it was. I
planted. I
Oh.
was in the yard.
I cooked a little bit.
You didn't bring
Just
my
a little.
food. You didn't bring my food.
Yes, I did. I forgot.
Okay, yeah, but we're not going to get too far in that. Yes, so
Yes,
we have a
yes.
hot topic for
Hot
Wednesday
topic
today.
Wednesday. Hot Topic Wednesday. What we gonna talk about today? If y'all been looking at our page, some of y'all already know.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to talk about today
Being
overwhelmed.
Yes.
I was gonna say it.
Oh, well, you just took a little long. Did you take a little long, you
Scoot
guys?
over. You got more of the screen. There you go.
We just love y'all.
We
Did
do.
you share it? Did you
Oh,
share it?
I'm gonna share it.
Okay.
But being overwhelmed, we deal with that often,
Mm-hmm.
a lot, being overwhelmed, and we just want to touch on it just a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
what is
Being overwhelmed.
being overwhelmed? Make sure you click like and share.
Yes, please
Because
click
this
like
is
and share.
we're going to give you some good pointers, some good tips
Yes.
on, how to deal with being overwhelmed.
And knowing that it's normal, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And that, most people have already gone through it or already in it. It's a natural thing that we all have experienced and that it is okay.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Mhm.
It's okay. So, let's kind of dig into it real quick.
All right, well, you ready?
What
Here we go.
is being overwhelmed? Before we get the three things about, being overwhelmed, the three tips, we want to know, like, what is, being overwhelmed?
Yes, and I did write that down. I got a few things that, that kind of like jump out. I'm like, oh my goodness. So it said defeat completely.
Ooh.
That was one of the definitions.
Defeated completely.
Mm-hmm. Overpowered.
Wow.
Or an excessive amount of anything.
Wow.
An excessive amount of anything. Buried down with just stuff.
Y'all know how just buried and just overwhelmed. You see all that stuff, and now it's all on top of you.
Mm-hmm. That you trying to conquer it, but ultimately it done conquered you by consuming you by your thoughts.
Ooh.
And your emotions.
That's the truth. And then
You've
you
been
know what?
consumed.
You can wait. You be waking up at night, and you be like, wait, why am I waking up so often? I am just like overwhelmed. I'm stressed out. But you're waking up because you're being overwhelmed. And when I think about being overwhelmed, it's like me trying to juggle a juggler. That's what came to my head. Like trying to juggle a juggler. It's like how the juggler have like all that. Oh, I get confused with the camera, but it has all that stuff in their hands and they juggling up. And when they juggling up, they looking up with all this stuff. And then, but you're the person that's trying to juggle the juggler. Can you imagine that? Like that's what being overwhelmed is. You're trying to catching the stuff, but the stuff, your mind is not focused on what you caught. Your mind is focused on what's up, what you're about to catch, and then you're like, oh wait, did I catch that? Or like what is
Yeah, I can see that. You done messed around, and see that's the thing. You're messing around, and you done dropped the ball. Now you sitting there looking like the clown that was trying to juggle all the juggle the juggler. I like how you said that.
Juggle the juggler.
Because you done took on 22 things.
22.
You done took on like 22 things, and you actually only completed maybe 7 or 8 of those things.
Yeah. So then when you drop one, like she said, you feel like a clown, like, oh, I messed up.
Yes, and that's when those sleepless nights. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you feel hopeless, and then now you confused because you're like, did I do it? Did I do enough? Did I get it done? Did I? Oh shoot, I forgot the other 3 things that I was supposed to do. You know, that's headaches.
Woo!
You got headaches. You know what I'm saying? You walking around anxious. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god. Now they make your stomach hurt. I'm just being honest. Listen, I know.
That's the truth.
Yes.
That is the truth.
Yes. I'm just saying that's
being
what you're
overwhelmed
doing.
And you don't even realize it. You know?
You do not.
And it's just...
Oh, you want to know why you don't realize it? Let me tell y'all why y'all don't realize it. Because you adjust to the weight.
Wait, say that again.
You adjust to the weight.
To the weight. You're
because
adjusting.
You are adjusting. Because
That's why you didn't even know that. Like, me waking up at night and these headaches. I'm like, why am I waking up? Why am my stomach hurt?
Because
why am I got a headache?
You know how we adjust to it? Let me tell you how you are adjusting to it is, oh, I have a headache. Oh my God, my head has been hurting me all day because I'm trying to get all the stuff done. I've just got a headache, right?
True.
Now you done went and got some Tylenol. That's adjusting to the weight.
Come on now, sis.
That's adjusting to the weight.
Listen
you know,
that, ladies.
Or my stomach.
Tum
to tum tum. I'm getting tums. You know. Or I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying? Oh, I can't sleep. I'm waking up. Oh, let me try to think on something else. No, you are adjusting to the weight.
That's why we don't realize it.
And that's how you end up being that juggler. That's juggling. Because you're constantly adjusting to what is going on instead of coming up with a solution.
Wow. How many of y'all out there didn't know that? You're adjusting to the weight. That's a signal for being overwhelmed.
Yeah, constant overwhelmness, it causes, health and mental issues.
You said the heart beat fast.
Rapid heartbeat. You can feel dizzy.
Blood pressure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
We got to get over that.
Yeah.
We got 3 tips. Now, y'all got y'all pens and paper. We got 3 tips because we can't be carrying around this overwhelmness. We got stuff to do.
And we know that some of the things that, causes it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know it debt, you know what I'm saying, causes it. We know that, conflict, relationships. You know what I'm saying? And we won't go through all of those things because those are like single sessions that's like mainly tailor-made just for you. Just that,
We'll dig deep personally.
Yes.
And tailor-make, the situation there. But, what causes the overwhelmness for you as an individual, we got those tailor-made sessions.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
And we got 3 tips. 3 points.
3 tips.
3 general points, that you can try to lighten your load, per se. And the first one that we want to touch on is be honest. Being honest, with yourself. Being honest. It's that simple. Being honest with yourself.
Yes.
And when I thought about being honest with yourself, I thought about that takes courage.
It does.
That really takes a lot of courage because, this becomes the moment when you will realize that you don't have all the answers. That's why it takes courage. You can't do it all, and for some, that is paralyzing news that I can't do it all. I can't, I can't fix it. Oh, I don't know the answer. And it can make some of us physically sick.
Yes, it does.
And she was talking about those stomach aches. It can make some of us physically sick. And you know what? I get it.
We had a couple of comments.
Oh.
Yes. I was just checking to see when your mind becomes focused on those
the things
you dropped.
Yes.
This is true.
Your mind does become focused. Thank you, Doug. It does. Your mind becomes focused on the things you dropped.
Wow, that's true.
That's
true.
overwhelmed.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
Your mind is consumed.
Mm-hmm.
Consumed. Yes.
Your thoughts and your emotions.
Yes.
Then there was another one. Deal with the symptoms instead of the cause.
Wow. Now that's deep.
That's deep, y'all.
That's deep right there. Deal with the symptoms instead of the cause. And those symptoms that we were talking about and kind of touched on, and we kind of deal with those symptoms by, like we're saying, jumping in by saying, be honest with yourself.
Yes, you do need to be honest.
Take that courage. Be honest with yourself. I know how, and it's kind of scary when you got to be honest with yourself, because you got to really come to the realization, like, dude, I ain't perfect.
Right.
I know how that feels. I like to be on top of things. I like to be, have my list made out. I like to know all the answers. I like to be prepared. And, you can't do that all the time. And, my mind is like, wait a minute, I don't know this answer. Wait a minute. How am I going to find that answer? But, you got to do what you know to do, which is, number one, be honest with yourself. And this right here is the time where your mindset shifts to acceptance.
I like that, sis.
Your mindset, it shifts to acceptance of not knowing. Right here, being honest.
Yes.
Come on now.
Yes.
This is when the shift comes in.
Yes.
The mindset shifts. And it's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we got some gentlemen. It's okay to not know.
Yes.
It's okay to embrace that. It's okay to take a minute to find the answer.
Ooh.
That is okay. This is what relieves that overwhelmness. This is what relieves it. We got another comment.
Yes, we had another comment, you guys.
Taking Tylenol for the symptoms instead of doing less things that are causing the problem.
That's true. Again,
that's what
not
we do.
addressing it.
Not addressing it. That's what we do.
Not having a solution.
That's
exactly.
the truth.
So then another thing, when I was thinking about, being honest with yourself, is, you have to challenge your assumptions.
Wait. Challenge? What do you mean by that? Challenge your assumptions.
That's recognizing. You have to recognize and acknowledge. Recognize and acknowledge your own feelings. And when you are overwhelmed, we tend to lead, with those, when you're irritable, you tend to lead with those irritable thoughts. And, now you're letting fear guide you instead of being logical.
That's true. Fear is guiding you.
Wow. So you have to challenge. You know what I'm saying? Challenge your own assumptions. Acknowledge the feelings. You know what I'm saying? Acknowledge and recognize your own feelings. That's what you have to do. And sometimes you do. You do have to step back. And you do have to get a new perspective. You know what I'm saying? Go for a walk. Change your environment. Change the scenery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I always say, pause, but don't stop.
Write that down.
Pause, but don't stop.
That's
Pause and not stopping is just you stepping back and getting a new perspective.
Come on now.
You know what I'm saying? On the situation, and that end up, because we find ourselves, always trying to be involved. Like we find ourselves, as I call it, the fixer.
Well,
some of us do. Like you see things going on at church. You see things going on at your home, your friends, your family. You know what I'm saying?
All the time.
You do. You do. And you tend to take on. You're constantly taking on. You're taking on more. You're taking it on. And it relieves the person.
It does.
But now you're taking on more for you.
And what you're doing. Yes. And what you're doing is you're juggling their consequences along with yours.
Yes. That's what you're doing. That is exactly what you're doing.
That's overwhelming you.
But that's the truth. That's the truth, and that is what we do. You know, and because you don't like to see your, you know, things not done at the church, because that's how we, you know, we don't like to see things not done. You know, and you don't like to see things not, you know, at home, and even with your family, you don't like to see them overwhelmed. So, you know, that love, you just tend to do it. You just tend to be like, okay, I'll grab it. Okay, I'll do it. Let me, you know what I'm saying?
I can do it faster.
But what we should do is
tell us,
show them how to do it. Stop being the fixer of it, and assist them. Because even in your assisting them how to do it, how to work through the problem, how to come up with the solution, that ultimately will be showing them, and it's a win-win situation, because now it's growth for you, because you're learning to allow them to do it themselves. Now they're growing, because now they have learned how to do it themselves, how to figure it out, because there's a lot of things I'm like, Ken, Sonny, you know, how do you? But instead of do it for me, can you show me how to do this? Because
that's good. That's
taking the load off of him.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And ultimately having me to grow.
That's right. I like that.
So it's a win-win situation when you do it like that. You assisting them how to do it.
Yes. I love when she said that. It's a win-win. We can't be a fixer. A fixer is part of that. Adding to the you're trying to juggle. We can't do that. We got to be honest. We got to stop that. We do. And assisting them, assisting someone how to do something. Assisting someone how to do something. It's not necessarily saying no and I can't do it. It's let me show you so you can grow on, and then as you know how to do it, now you can continue on to show somebody else how to do it, like how we be doing things, you know, at the church and at home and wherever else we go. And another thing that I was going to point out real quick that, you know, that we have to do for ourselves. Listen, we got to take a recovery day. I don't care if it's a day, if it's a week, that relieves stress.
If it's some hours,
it does relieve stress.
You know what I'm saying? Get your coffee. Well, I'm a coffee drinker. Get your tea. You know, go outside. Well, not if it's real hot, because I'm not a hot person. But go and be outside, enjoy. Put on your music, meditate. You know, those are recovery days and recovery weeks.
Yes, she is serious.
I'm so serious, y'all.
She's serious about that.
I'm so serious.
Get rid of that overwhelmness. She's serious. Which brings us to our next point.
Yeah, when you have a bad day.
Well, yeah.
You know, you have a rough week. You got to recover.
You got to recover. She right. And you're right. And we gonna
mental health days.
Yes, Erica.
Exactly. I don't care if it's
mental
for an hour or 2 hours.
Come on now.
But we do have to take a week, y'all. We need a girls.
Yes.
Week, you know.
And
she know. No, don't you see? She just came back from a week vacation.
Well, what she's saying, she's serious about that. Take some time, which is true. That helps you release some stress, get over the overwhelmness, which brings us to our second point.
Yes.
Which is prioritizing. And she touched on it. Prioritizing your time. That's important right there. Prioritizing your time, that recovery time, that meditating time, that calming music, that coffee, that tea.
Yes.
We just gonna woo-saw overwhelming. We just woo-sawing.
Yes, you do.
So you got to prioritize, you know, your time. And also, you know, prioritize those things that you juggling. We can prioritize those. We can do that. We can, you know, do that by, I got one word for you, no.
Woo.
We can do that prioritizing by saying the word no. Saying the word no. I can't take on anymore right now. I can't do that right now. You know, there's fancy ways of saying no. I didn't budget that in my time, for me to do that. You know, you don't have to be blunt and nasty. We talked about how to say your words.
Yes.
But you got to be okay with saying no. And when saying no, people equate you saying no with being weak. They equate that with being weak. But you have to know that saying no, you have to be strong enough to know your limits.
Ooh.
When you say no, that's not you being weak. That's you showing your strength.
Yes.
To say, hey, I know my limits. I have a limit here.
Recalibrate.
Yeah. Ooh.
I'm just saying, that's what you're doing. But go ahead.
I like that. Recalibrating. You know your limits. You know, make things more manageable for yourself.
Yes.
You know, and what I like to do with prioritizing my time and my limits is I have a goal of 2. So after work, I say I'm going to do 2 things after work when I get home. If it's wash a load of clothes and maybe vacuum. After that, I'm sitting down. I'm enjoying my family. I am, you know, and relaxing after that because that stuff will be there. The other stuff will be there the next day. And then the following day, what I do after work, okay, I vacuumed yesterday. So today, I'm going to, you know, wash the dishes and cook. Because that's 2 things. If I cook, that's one of my things. You know, cooking is one of the things, okay? Because, you know. So I got to cook and wash dishes. Hey, that's 2 things. But that relieves my stress. I'm not overwhelmed. Like, oh, I didn't get to the, you know, laundry, or I didn't fold, or, oh, my bathroom. You know, that's a way to prioritize those things you're juggling in your mind.
Yes.
You know, set a small goal. Set a small attainable goal for the day.
Yes.
And meet that goal and then relax.
That's what you have to do because your thoughts, and then you have your ability go hand in hand, right? So if your thoughts are way up here of I can do all these things, but then your ability is way down here, you're unbalanced, right?
Ooh, that's true.
You are unbalanced. So your ability and your thoughts need to go hand in hand. You have to have some type of balance. You know, you might have to do time boxing. You know, that's another thing, which is, you know, setting hours, certain amount of hours for that task or whatever that project is. You know, we have those certain projects that we have to get done. You know, time box. You know, and we can go more in detail about that later, but time boxing is basically setting a certain amount of time for whatever the task is that you have available. You know, whatever task that you have set that needs to be done. And then another thing is, you know,
I like that. I haven't heard of time boxes.
I had to do that because, you know, I like projects. You know, I like to create things and do things.
For when you're going to complete it.
Set a time for when you're going to complete it. You can set a time for how long you're going to work on that task. That's mainly what it is. You're setting a time frame. So if I have 4 projects that I'm working on, I'm going to say I have a half an hour for this. I have 20 minutes for that. I have 45 minutes for that because I'm only spending 2 hours a day on these 4 projects.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you can break it down because I'll spend hours and I have to do time boxing on different tasks, you know. And then also, you know, you have your make a time management plan. You know, make time management plans. Like, that's tailor-made for you, of course. But, like, you have, like, you might have to have lawn care. You know, you might have to have a housekeeper. You know, some people kind of frown on that. Give me a housekeeper, you know. Then you have your children that's of age, you know, with chores. You know, that takes some of that pressure off of you.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? By that having that time management plan, you know?
Yes.
And reorganize your life system.
Ooh, now that's heavy.
I had to do that, y'all. Reorganize your life system. If it's spiritual, if it's work, again, if it's home, your to-do list, your daily routine, make a list. You know, log it. Write everything down.
Everything. Wait a minute.
Hold
on. Now, she was getting good till she said write everything down. Now, what? Did we just say we was juggling everything? Why we want to look at it?
Because
I don't want to look at it.
No. You got to look at it. Because these are things, your tasks, your problems, your situations, things that you got going on, your projects. you know, we can't get away from those challenges. We can't just walk away from it like, oh yeah, I'm overwhelmed, so I'm done with everything. That's us dropping the ball. You can't just drop the ball.
That's
you
true.
know, we have to adjust how we react, how we respond, how we redirect to get to the solution.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
As
I like that, those reads. We have to adjust.
Yes, we have to adjust how we react, how we respond, how we redirect to get to the solution by writing everything down.
Okay.
And what you're going to do is you're going to prioritize. You're going to make them into columns. Okay? Now, she said she has to do 2 things. Now, me, I can't do just 2 things. You know, I'm a little different. So, my thing is by 4. Okay? Yours may be between 3 and 5.
Yes.
So, your first column is going to be, you know, what has to be done. No questions asked. Immediately needs to be done. You write that down in the first column. Then in your second column, you know, it's not a big urgency, but it's still something that needs to be done throughout the week. You know, that's that box timing, you know, that's going to be in that column. Okay? Then on your third column, you're going to have the things that you know you have to get done throughout the month. And then here comes the part where, you know, you might have to delegate.
Ooh.
And that get a little hard for some people.
That does. That
you know, but that's the purpose of writing everything down, because these things still have to get done. We not, you know, we know, you know, but it keeps us from being overwhelmed.
Yes.
And it also makes it where things are still getting done. And then now we're back to that overwhelm. With delegate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, delegate. And that brings us to our third point, though. I like how you said that we have to delegate, because point number 3 with having to relieve your overwhelmness is ask for help. Ask for help.
I'm sorry. We gotta address this question. Yes. This response right here, because this is so me. This is so me.
Dr. Neil.
Yes. She said, I'm great at writing everything down, but sometimes I don't get through the list.
Yeah. And then that's okay.
It is.
That is okay. When you write everything down, you still do that time boxing.
Yes. And they're delegating.
And that list will be done.
Yes, it will.
It will.
That's that third. The
delegating. That's important.
Ask for help.
Lady Hackworth.
Yes.
I love Lady Hackworth.
Me too.
Yes. Ask for help. Ask for help. That is the truth. Because asking for help, which is point number 3, that can help you, like Miss Michelle said, that can help you get through that list.
Yes.
That relieves that overwhelmness. Come on now.
Because you can barely function when you're overwhelmed.
Yes, you can barely function. And that help, the help word, that's 4 letters. That 4-letter word is packed with diffuseness.
Woo.
It diffuses a lot of things.
Yes, it does.
You just ask for help. Oh, I can't do it. I'm being honest. I need your help.
Yeah.
You know, show me how.
Understand, you are not alone.
You're not alone. Yes.
You are not alone. It's okay to be a team player. Again, like you said, you know, you have to delegate. You know, and for me, and I'm just going to be honest, y'all, you know, the fear of rejection.
Well, that's true. You don't want to ask for help because somebody might be like, nope,
no,
I
don't have time.
I'm busy.
You know, I'm not available.
I don't know how.
I can't do it. I can't this, you know. And that fear of rejection, a fear of somebody, no, they can't do it, or they're not going to do it right, you know.
That perfectionist. See,
yes.
now she's a perfectionist.
You know, we can't allow, this is true, and I'm working on that, y'all, in real life. You know, you can't allow fear, you know, of not having the control of how something is going to play out.
I like that.
Keep you from asking for help, you guys. That was me.
That's what you
I'm
touched
being
on.
honest, you know, that was me.
Because you begin to lead by fear.
You do.
That's what you had touched on there earlier. Leading by fear.
And that's why, and you can't do that.
No.
And that's why I said we have to lose the assumptions. Like we talked about this before, that they will fail and that, they'll go too slow. That's us building those barriers, like we talked about, building barriers based on our own assumptions, self-imposed limitations.
Yeah.
We're limiting our own selves based on, what we think somebody else can't do. You know what I mean?
Yep, that's true.
And which that ultimately leads us to being overwhelmed,
It does.
And like you said, you touched on being a perfectionist. You have to allow yourself to have progress.
Allow yourself to have progress.
Yeah, be in the mode of having progress instead of perfection.
Woo! Write that down. Be in the mode of having progress instead of perfection. Come on, somebody.
Yes.
Progress instead of perfection.
Yes.
Perfection is completing that list, but we got progress. Be okay with that progress.
And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yes.
Because, again, I'm still working on that, y'all, in real life. Because, bless her heart. But I do. When you're feeling overwhelmed with life, just in general, we're going to, because we always say, 30 minutes or less, and we right there at that mark,
Right there.
But when we're feeling overwhelmed with life, never allow it to intimidate us.
Yes.
Let it motivate us.
Woo!
So
don't let it. She's dropping a lot of nuggets. Yes. Don't let it intimidate. Let it motivate. All right. Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
You said
allow yourself some grace.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
you,
others.
doctor.
That's what we're seeing.
Yes.
I love that.
I love that, Dr.
Yes.
Neal. Allow yourself.
Allow.
Come on.
I like the word how she said allow.
Allow.
Yourself.
Yourself.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
And so we just asking you, to use some of these tools that we kind of dropped out. Yes, we know we will make it tailor-made just for you. You can always book us for our single tailor-made sessions.
Yes.
For you.
For you.
You guys have our information, and for real, we love you guys. We always here for you guys. We thank you for all the support. I know I just keep going. Go ahead and say what you're going to say.
No, okay.
We thank you for your support,
yes.
the love that you guys give and extend, and the ones that we're working with, thank you for allowing us,
yes,
to work with you guys on your personal topics,
yes.
And again, if there's something you want to talk on, throw it out there to us.
Throw it out there. Inbox us.
Yes. You can reach us, email us.
Yes.
Shoot us
we
a
do our
message.
hot topics every first Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time.
Of each month.
Each month, every first Wednesday. So inbox us some topics you want to talk about, something you want to hear about. Hey, we're here.
It doesn't have to be heavy. We know we just started. It's the second one.
Yes.
So it doesn't always have to be a heavy topic. It can be a fun topic, just something that we wanted to talk about, So get at us. We love you. We're here for you.
We love you guys.
Suffer in silence no longer.
Suffer in silence no longer.
Yes.
It has to go.
It's done.
It's done. It's done.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.